Let's look at a reaction stoichiometry calculation today. Here's an example. When copper metal is added to silver nitrate in an aqueous solution, silver metal and copper 2 nitrate are produced. What mass of silver metal is produced from the reaction of 100 grams of copper metal? When doing stoichiometry, those calculations, one of the most important things is to have a balanced equation. So let's write that from the example. We have copper metal. It's going into a silver nitrate solution, an aqueous solution. Remember, that just means that water is the solvent. It produces silver metal and a copper 2 nitrate solution. We need to balance our equation. So let's put a 2 in front of the silver and a 2 in front of the silver nitrate. Okay. Now, when solving stoichiometry problems, there is a set series of steps. We want to take the first quantity, which here happens to be 100 grams of copper metal. We need to always make sure our starting quantity gets turned to moles of that substance. Sometimes they will start you with moles instead of grams, but here they chose not to. So we have 100 grams of copper. I'm using conversion factors. Some people call them railroad tracks, just to kind of organize the problem solving. We're going to change it to moles. 1 mole of copper is equal to 63.546 grams of copper. Now that is the molar mass from the periodic table for copper. Notice that the grams of copper cancel the way we have the conversion. So 100 divided by 63.546 results in 1.57 moles of copper. Okay. Now this is moles of copper. Our question here is, what mass of silver metal? So we need grams of silver. This is our known value, 1.57 moles of copper. We need to change that to moles of the unknown, silver. But by doing so, we can work into the silver mass. So let's take 1.57 moles of copper. How we change that to silver is through the mole ratio, which comes from the coefficients in the balanced equation. We're going to the moles of silver. The balanced equation says 2 moles of silver produced from 1 mole of copper. Again, notice how mole of copper, they cancel out. We're going to go 1.57 multiplied by 2. We get 3.14 moles of silver. So to go from the known substance to the unknown, we do so with the mole ratio, which is the coefficients in the balanced equation. Now our final step is to convert 3.14 moles of silver to moles or to grams of silver. So let's take 3.14 moles of silver. We change it to grams of silver using the molar mass from the periodic table. 1 mole of silver. Notice I'm putting it on the denominator because I want it to cancel. I'm going to the grams of silver, so I'm using the molar mass from the periodic table. 107.8682. We multiply together 3.14, 107.8682. I'm going to round this to 3 significant figures as my final answer because of the 100 with the decimal, giving me 3 sig figs. So it comes out to be 339 grams of silver produced. Now let's show it all the steps at once. Once you get more experience with stoichiometry, you'll combine all of these problem-solving steps into one. So we'll have the 100 grams of copper. Our first step was 1 mole of copper, 63.546 grams of copper. Our second conversion was moles to copper to moles of silver, and our conversion factor was 1 mole of copper. Remember, these numbers, these coefficients, are coming from the balanced equation. 2 moles of silver. Notice how they're canceling. And then our final step was to go to grams of silver using the molar mass. Okay. And then we multiply straight across, divide by the denominator, 339 grams of silver.